or Scream 5, or Scream 2022. It's the 5th Scream film in the slasher franchise, and to be honest, I've only ever seen the first one, and that was absolutely great. And I know with a lot of sequels to horrors that the more sequels it gets, the worse they are, and I was just ready to keep clear of this one. But I just heard so many good things about this that I decided to check it out. And yeah, damn, this one really came as a surprise to me. This takes place 10 years after the last Scream movie, where Ghostface is back on the hunt again in the same town of Woodsboro. We see new and old faces alike, connected to the past, all trying to unmask the real killer. And Scream had always been a special film to me because of its meta-commentary about its own genre inside the movie. And that first Scream movie felt really refreshing and original. And maybe if you have seen all the other Scream films, it might have worn out on you, but for me, I thought it was still a really great concept. Here, it mocks several slasher films like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and several times throughout this film it mocks itself on doing things that characters would say was stereotypical in a horror slasher genre. And I understand that if that comes off wrong, the movie can come off as really obnoxious or hypocritical, but in this case I think the jokes land for the most part, and it makes for some really entertaining stuff. So whilst this is technically listed as a horror mystery thriller, I would be more inclined to label it as a comedy as well. The deaths, the murders, they're really creative here as well. Not only are they pretty gory, but with some really well shot choreography, I'm thinking of the hospital scene in particular, but again it almost plays on your expectations on what you're looking to expect after seeing these sort of movies before, and it plays on that and it teases you. There are unfortunately times where it does feel like a product of its own ridicule and not on purpose. There's more than enough eye-rolling moments here where you think that it's just ridiculous and this would never happen. And for me, more specifically, it's the friendship group that this movie centers around. They spend the whole movie pointing fingers at each other, trying to psych each other out, playing tricks and making the others think that they might be the real killer. If they were a real group of friends in real life, they would never be doing anything like that. It's just so weird to watch on screen. And they'd also be taking it way more seriously, which is why I think it's also partly a comedy, because the characters almost treat it as one. Speaking of characters and cast, we get a mixture of old and new, returning from old Scream movies. Well, for me, I only recognise them from the first Scream movie. And some big names include Courtney Cox, who, say what you will about her, I actually really enjoyed seeing her. I haven't seen her in anything for a while. And you've also got Neve Campbell and David Arquette returning too. And whilst these three don't have huge parts in the film, they're in it enough for you to feel familiar and comfortable with the story, which again is something that the movie mocks itself for doing. And as far as the new cast goes, surprisingly, there was a couple of good shout-outs here. Jack Quaid is honestly a fucking treasure, and my god, watching this just makes me want Boys Season 3 to come out even sooner now. Plus, I also saw recently that he's a Yoshi main on Smash Brothers, and I can respect that. And the other shout-out for me was Jenna Ortega, who, if you've seen the trailer for this film, she's the girl at the beginning with the lock system that's on her phone. She plays a more serious role than the rest of the cast, and I think she actually crushes it, to be honest. She brings tension back into the scenes which I was willing to label as pure comedy, and almost reminds you and brings you back into the horror elements of this film. Honestly, it was really great stuff. And the rest of the cast weren't bad either. They made me chuckle here and there, but I don't think there was really anything else to mention about them. And as you probably figured, there's a lot of callbacks to older Scream movies, so you probably want to watch those before going into this one. Although in saying that, I've only ever seen the first Scream movie, none of the rest, and I don't think I lost anything because of it. So maybe just watch the original Scream movie before coming into this. And I think overall it was just a really fun movie. It can be predictable, but when it is, it mocks itself for doing so it becomes really entertaining. The opening scene was really well done, and I also think the hospital scene was just really well shot. I almost just forget how much I like Ghostface as a villain. If you can easily stomach thrillers and gory slashers, I think you have a really good time with this one if you don't take it too seriously. But if things like horrors really aren't your thing, then I don't think the humour side of this is going to do enough to want to bring you into it. But on the whole, I would recommend this movie. But it's been out for a week or two now. I'm pretty slow getting this review out, so maybe you've already seen it. If you have, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, leave a like, subscribe, whatever. It's all really helpful, thank you. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime, and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.